Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my daily plan. Where's my share screen thing? Share screen. Okay, and so here we are. And so, real simple, yesterday was basically unchanged, and today, overnight session, we're basically unchanged. And there's a good chance that we end up today basically unchanged. Good morning, Val. The the potential upsetter to this is VIXpiration tomorrow. So any, and we'll get into that maybe a little bit more later, any roles, monetization of in the money puts might relieve pressure on keeping VIX down, might bring it up a little bit. Tomorrow morning is the settlement of VIX, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But other than that, or obviously to a headline risk, it looks like we're going to stay within the expected move. All right, now let's move on from there. And so here's basically I just see us in a really tight zone with 30, with kind of 30, the bottom of the chop zone, which is outside the expected move, or actually just inside it. And I'm giving it a little bit more room on top to 64.70, which is at the expected move, more or less, with kind of stall points almost every 5 or 10 points, choppy kind of action. And in a minute, I'll show you why. Actually, you don't have to wait a minute. I'll show you why now. My buddy, good to see you back. We used to trade side by side on the old Mentor Q days, and then he, kind of took some time off, whatever. Now he's back in there with the fervor and passion and curiosity that I just love to see. I like to see the passion because I have it myself. Anyway, that said, let's go straight to where the levels and lines are and why I say what I say. Yeah, yesterday I was on a webinar with options depth, and I did my best to explain some of the ways, some of the reaction zones in a less quantity, more what we as traders tend to see. Is kind of what I try to do. A lot of us aren't that concerned with the Greek gamma calculations to the third power and what happens. Like, okay, what does it mean when the lines look like that? And we get into that other stuff later. Okay, so let's cut straight to the videotape. So here's where we are today, and somebody had a question the other day, and let me address that right now. I said the the I said that the IC whale is back, and that he's over here, and somebody, well, let me see how you phrase the question. If the IC whale, why such a tight range? Because the IC whale has two strategies. One where he sells the expected move after a range expansion day. Usually he waits two range expansion days before he does that, on the idea that we're going to revert to the mean. The other strategy, which he doesn't employ as much and which is employed smaller for whatever reason, but we can forget that. Yeah, the option depth is recorded. It's in the option depth thing. I can get a copy of it if you're not in options depth for, for other people. I'll see if I can get a copy. If I can figure out how to get it on my YouTube channel, that would be nice. Um, his other strategy is after two inside days, whatever it is to buy the expected move. So in this case, he bought roughly the 35 delta, 5 wide, call, and put. And actually, I did the same thing yesterday, even before I saw that he put it on. I have that over here. I also sold a few yesterday over here, as you can see, and these are ready to close. They're at 50% profit. But let me see where I have it. Do I have it here? Yeah. No, that's not it. Where is it? Is it here? I might have lost it. I put it somewhere. That's it? Yeah. So here's I did the same thing even before I knew that's what he did, figuring it's a decent lotto for about $3 that we're gonna exceed the expected move, or I just monetize each side separately, or I could take, let's just say, this structure right here, this put spread, and sell something right beneath it, like I don't know, say actually I might put this in now. Sell something like that for a 75-cent credit, maybe one or two of them will make it a little wider, and just kind of change it into a condor or a broken butterfly. Now, technically, a condor is not the same as an iron condor. A condor technically is a butterfly, just as a reminder, would be long one, short two, long one. A condor would be long one, short another one below it, and then long another one below it, giving you a wider tent, but costing you more money. But right now, we're not doing an option structure class. So let's get back to then. Do you know how he technically doesn't exit? Rarely does he exit. He sits there and either he wins or he loses. That's on the Iron Condors. Although last time on the Iron Condor was the first time I saw him exit. Well, that was last week. On these long ones, I've only been noticing them recently, and he hasn't exited yet that I've seen. So he holds it. He spends 3 or 3.10 to make 5. That's his risk reward, which is pretty much the same risk reward as he gets on his iron condors. He sells them for about 2 to risk 5. So that's his risk reward, and he's willing to take it. Does that mean I'm willing to take it? Nah, not necessarily. I like to monetize these because, and I'll finish this discussion of him with that. I've done either his trades exactly or similar trades for years. I usually put in 50% buy to close on each side separately, and I've never taken a loss yet. So sometimes I might have to close one side at 65%, the other side break even or a tiny loss if the gamma tells me it's moving in a certain direction, but he's willing to just sit there. That's his strategy. He's got a hedge fund of some sort and a big following, so he's obviously making a lot of money. So I'm not criticizing his strategy. I'm just saying that's not mine. Different strokes for different folks. He uses a martingale where he sizes up, sizes up, sizes up, and I've seen a few times where he's been, 1 point away from bankruptcy. So anyway, getting back to the videotape. Okay, so here's his long, and if you just look at the structure, what do we see? We see on top there's more market maker longs, so better chance to stall on the way up. 1 point from bankers, yes. Oh, that's priceless, priceless. Oh, I have to stop smiling here. Okay, so we see on the way up, there's more stall features, but there's also more customer longs. Now, these could be tight credit spreads or tight debit spreads, so I'm born 80, 85, or 60 sold or 65, whatever. Well, we know that the 65s are the other side of this. Also, it doesn't matter what, mostly doesn't matter what the intent of the original trader was. The trade is there, and the market makers have to hedge it regardless of why somebody did what they did. Okay. To the downside, well, we have the bottom of his debit spread here at 35. And these don't, since they're only five wide, if you add up the delta, there's not a lot of delta here. It's long, whatever it is, 30 delta, and short, I don't know, I'm just going to make it up, 28 delta or 27 delta. So there's not a lot of deltas here. And since they're not that wide, there's not a lot of room here for kind of back and forth or stalling in here. But if we break the 35, there's not as much supportive stuff below us, 400 puts, 470, whatever short puts. That's basically a drop in the bucket of average trading on a zero DTE trade. So this could get swamped by people buying, selling, selling, buying, probably both. 25 is a round number. So that's even going to attract more attention. Um, so 64.15 is the next level below this where we see some kind of size and it kind of trails off down here. Now, where are we now? We're probably right around 50, I'm going to guess. We're still stuck like Chuck, like right here, like up a point, down a point. And so the day favors staying inside this, possibly going past the 65, only because we have more of these customer longs on this side than we have on this side. It's a pretty balanced day, maybe we close it at 42 or 39, or maybe we get below 35 by a couple points. Maybe we get a new all-time high would be 81-ish. I, I just don't know that we will make a new all-time high while we're waiting for Jackson Hole and we're waiting for all this other stuff. So that's just kind of a common sense approach. Now, whether common sense and the markets can be said in the same breath is a whole other question. Now, let's look at the numbers. Yep, there's 14,000 up here. Yeah, you're right. I mentioned to somebody that on another platform I saw 14,000. Now, let's see what we have here. Can you explain first what the charts are? Gamma, oh, okay, yeah. Good point. Okay. Can you take job charts, articles, etc., load them into ChatGPT? Okay, that's a good point too. So somebody, let me uh, let me see. How do I do this? Oh, that's all the private chat. Okay, I can't put that on there. And somebody said you can take my articles and put them into ChatGPT or my roadmap and ask to explain it or to, what to further articulate it. And that's a good idea. I use AI all the time. My daily plan, I write out all typoed and staccato, whatever it is, and I shove it into ChatGPT and say, make it pretty. And then I fight with it. I say, no, you got that wrong. You left that out. I actually say, WTF, what are you, brain dead? When I talk to ChatGPT. But that's another story. But you do have to make sure it just doesn't say something stupid. You can't trust it 100%. So anyway, um, and I tried to use ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, Perplexity, all of them. Some are better at some stuff than others. I like Perplexity for its web search stuff, and Perplexity can do videos. So there's this guy that's got some stuff out there that's kind of interesting to me. And he's got 32 videos. You think I'm going to sit and watch 32 videos like I got nothing better to do? But I took the link to his videos, sent it to Perplexity, the paid version, and said, summarize the videos, whatever. Then with two or three back and forths with Perplexity, in 20 minutes, I got a pretty useful version of 32 videos. So anyway, but I digress, which is not hard for me to do. Yeah, gets it wrong a lot. Yeah, David says the same thing. Did an iron fly? Yeah, iron fly was yesterday was a great day for an iron fly. And for those of you that don't know, an iron fly is when you sell the at the money and buy wings. So now let's. Okay, I have time. Remind me to jump back to the iron fly later. Oh, and if anybody wants to join the stage, I'm just going to randomly put you on the stage. If you want to say something, your mic is open for now. But before I do that, I like this view because I can see the numbers. So we're over here. So if above 50, and remember, my subscribers get my little trading view string where I kind of have my, this doesn't look right. Is this right? I think it is. Yeah. The reason I have 50 as a pivot, and I kind of just arbitrarily give it names. The reason I have 50 as a pivot, okay, we have 3,000 sold calls here. That's a lot of sold calls. If we can get over this, then we have the IC whales long right here that could kind of pull us up to here, but then do we get through it? I don't know. And we have 1,000 up here, so probably going to be hard to get through that. And then up above that, so we have long, short, long, short. So that's why I said sawtooth pattern. But then once we start getting up here, near the 6,500 level, and of course somebody is no schmuck and they sold 14,000 of these. Uh, so we're not getting there. And sometimes it pays to kind of scout through the chain and see like where there's a big amount sold or bought out in time, and to kind of place a longer term trade around that. And so getting back to what we see here to the bottom, if we go through this, which seems like it shouldn't be that hard, especially if VIXperation causes some people to monetize their VIX stuff, and I'm going to come back around to VIX in a minute. Um, Then the path down, yeah, there's a little bit of market maker long support, but not a lot. And so it's not hard for me to imagine a world in which we're at 64, 40, 35. Yesterday's low was somewhere in there. Are these large positions not about making money, but shifting the gamma profile one? I don't think their motivation is to shift the profile one way or another. Somebody asked. That's what I call weaponized gamma. And sometimes they're there. I think they're more likely Um, Structured products, either things like JEPI or QYLD or NVD, XYLD, or I think they have a weekly one. So I think they're more ETFs or banknotes that do similar things with big chunky positions on. That's my guess. That's my guess. And so to the downside is kind of where there's probably more a higher probability of breaking toward the bottom of the chop zone. Oh, and yesterday's low, which I have in my notes in my levels and line section, but you can just kind of pull it up. So in my little notes, I call it levels and lines, but it's not here. I got it somewhere. Let me find my notes. View post. Okay. So this is what my Substack people get. Uh, I see well strategy. See that? I told ChatGPT to put it in. It didn't. Motherfucker. Okay, Monday low. There it is. 64.35 Monday low. And that was also the CPI breakout point. Hopefully you guys can see this. So this is, the full roadmap. If above here where we stall, the trading view string, so that you get that, whatever. Get my little cheat card and whatever. Okay, anyway, let's get back to what we're doing. Yeah, cheap insurance. Yeah. Okay, so now it looks like we're kind of breaking bad, as the TV series says. But I mean, again, we're down a point. Anything could happen. Let's talk about VIX real quick before I forget, because I can tend to just kind of follow the rabbit hole. So let's talk about VIX, and to visualize that, I like to use Gamma Edge, although Spot Gamma actually has a decent thing for visualizing that as well. I subscribe to everybody. I do this for a living. It's part of my overhead. All right. I'm not trying to save $100 a month or $60 a month when I'm trading 20 wide iron condors times 20 every day. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Thank you. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave that up there. So, so I don't mind buying this stuff. I know a lot of people, aren't doing the same thing, so it's a different story. So let's look at the landscape here for uh, for VIX. So we have 16,000 at 16 rather. We have 280,000 puts that are in the money. You have 93,000 puts that are out of the money. So these are going to go to a delta zero or a delta one if we close at 14.999. 1550 is kind of the mid inflection point, and you have to kind of average it, to subtract the call delta from the put delta, whatever, to kind of see the relative impact there. But clearly, 1550 is the inflection point, and these 16s are what we're buried under. So I don't know about you, and I don't know about how the hedge funds do it, obviously, but I've seen if you bought you being the head fund, these 16 puts, and they're worth $1. And there's 230,000 of them, whatever's there, and they're expiring tomorrow. Yeah, you can leave them, they're cash settled, or you can close them. So if a big chunk of these come off, if then watch the volume. If these come off, well then market makers have to buy back whatever shorts they're holding for in here, and that can make VIX pop a little bit, and that could kind of create some, some wiggles. And so that's why I'm sort of a little cautious, a little cautious. And if we look at, and so now slash VXM, is it? No, that's wrong. That doesn't look right. Which is the VIX future expiring? I looked before on TOS. The VIX future expiring that's tied to this was 15.5 when I looked. These two have to converge. And so this has to come up to 15.5. The other one has to come down. There could be some wiggles or adjustments. And then tomorrow morning is the SOQ, is the settlement. That we'll talk about that tomorrow morning. Um, Anyone want to comment, say anything, question? Chewy, you want to say anything? Who else do I got here? Go ahead. Yes, no? Oh, let me mention this. I'm trying out unusual whales. They have this periscope thing, which word on the street is has reliable data. I'm not sure. I'm trying it out. I like options depth product way more because it has a lot of other things that this doesn't have. But this is relatively economical, and I'll let you guys know what I think of it. I'm not gonna put my fingers on the scale one way or another. I'm just gonna tell you what I think. And you could, and what I think doesn't mean that should dictate what you do. Um, but in keeping with that, I'm mulling over. Yeah, option depth is so much better. Yeah, yeah, so much better. I totally agree. Option depth gives you so much more depth. But this is a good cheapie for somebody that doesn't want to spend that much money.
Hello, hello.
Huh? Yeah, so anyway, yeah, I wouldn't trade in options depth for this. You'd have to shoot me first. Or maybe if you shot me, I could, maybe I would let myself be shot, but you know what I mean. Well, huh?
No, I was just laughing at what you said.
Oh, yeah. Um, but the other thing that I'm thinking of doing here, Unusual Whales has a way that you can have Unusual Whales, whatever the word is, like a bot. And I'm thinking of adding the Unusual Whales bot for some kind of subscription tier, whatever. I'm kind of working that out. Um, but I don't want to become an everything guy. I'm an SPX guy. Like Gexbot is another story. I use them. Gexbot's good. It just doesn't speak to me, if you know what I mean. Some interfaces I look at and go, oh, okay, I know exactly what's going on. Gexbot I look at and I have to stop and think and logic my way through it, and I don't have time for that. Other people use it, love it. Kirby and Jazz, I know those guys from before they even had a service when they were on Bear Trap. I kind of was a beta with him. I helped him do it. Good product, stand up guys, stand behind their work, and I know they do it right. It just doesn't speak to me. That's that's my whole thing with it. Um,
Doc, I just wanted to add one
Go ahead.
thing. Uh,
Yes.
on ES, I'm going to be trading towards 64.55, and then from there, I'll be looking for a small reversal to the upside.
64. Okay, so let's get a chart up here. All right, where the heck is charts over here? Let me change it to ES. And let me change the time frame. Let's make it kind of the standard. I think most traders will look at 15 minutes or 15s and fives, I guess. Let's just make it a 2 week chart for context. So you said you're going to be
Trading towards 64.55.
okay. So that's that 10 point down. That kind of takes us more or less to where the IC Wales long put debit spread kind of ends, which is a level that makes sense.
Got it.
Oh, and Chewy is going to be doing something. We're still talking about exactly how to do it with futures trading. We're going to
Yeah, I'll be
collaborate
trading
somehow. Go ahead.
ES futures in there with you guys pretty regularly. So if that's your thing, keep an eye out.
Right. And personally, I don't know what an API is. I mean, I know it's something to do with you get data from here and you shove it there, but that's about as far as my API is going. API could be I don't know what API stands for. I know it's a way to plug something in from here and get data and put it here and put it in a spreadsheet. I don't even know how to use a spreadsheet. I mean, I know you pull it up and you see a bunch of numbers. That's about as far as my spreadsheet goes. My spreadsheeting, my business was run with a calculator with with the tape on it and on six column accounting paper until I retired. Into the late 2010, 15 era. So, I came from that era, so I don't know how to use a spreadsheet. So anyway, I'm glad that it's good to see guys from all these other places, from Gexbot and all the other places on this call. I like that. Um, yeah, and a lot of futures traders, just to point it out, a lot of futures traders use Gamma. I mean, tons of them. Yeah, Voland. I don't want to put down another person's service. Let's just say I was on Voland for a few months. I was there when he upgraded to the live stuff, and I just think his calculations and his assumptions are somewhat suspect based on what I understand the way the Greeks move and etc. Maybe I'm wrong. I know some people make money with it. I was there and I was not impressed. If anything, I'm just gonna, yeah, if the volume works for you, I'm happy. Okay, so this is just some crap I put on, whatever. These are just some trades I put on. Oh, yeah, here's my little weekly iron condor based on the expected move. I go beyond it. And the weekly expected move is here. And we're kind of staying within it. And it wouldn't, well, Jackson Hole obviously is the inflection point of the week, which is Friday, other than maybe some kind of tariff deal. Well, tariff deals we're not talking about tariff deals anymore. Now we're talking about the Ukraine war for now. Although Bessenet was on there talk on CNBC this morning, I happened to catch it talking about they're going to collect more money from the tariffs than they projected, and basically he's talking about helicopter money that there's going to be a one-time payment, kind of like a like they did during COVID, helicopter money. Yeah, we're gonna drop money, and like we did to Iran, we're gonna drop money into the American people. And like we remember, we dropped money into Iran. We dropped a pallet full of money, not a political statement, just a factual statement. Um, that we're gonna, and clearly that's inflationary. Clearly, the macro bros are gonna get their panties in a twist, and it's going to stimulate the economy. So who knows how that's going to play out, if it even happens. Okay, I'm taking my macro hat off. Okay, so that's what that is. So getting back to today's trading. What would I do? I like to do this. I like to kind of put in what I call my wish trade, and 6,400. That's not bad. 50 cents. If I want to go one away from the round number, just in abundance of caution, I don't want 35 cents. I would take 50 cents for that. So I'll put in one for fun here. I wouldn't put in more because I'd want to add or do whatever. Why don't I see it in the working section? Hold on, something's wrong here. Let's try that again. XD400. Maybe I sent it to the wrong account. Yeah, I sent it to the wrong account. This is my little IRA. So I just play around small here, and I do like more conservative stuff in here. So that looks okay. I'm not really worried about it, although I think it could get threatened. And so we know we have this. We know we have this. And so if we bet that that monetizes, butterfly, put, go. And you could do it with the call butterfly too, by the way. Um, where would I want to put my fly? I mean, one way to do it be a little more expensive, but something like that for $1.50, that's not a bad bet. That's not a bad bet for $1.50. If you wanted to tighten it up and get a cheapie for 30 cents, that's definitely not a bad bet. Um, so I guess put that in for 30 cents. We'll see what happens. Um, so, something like that. Or if I wanted to turn this into some kind of broker wing fly to be a little safer, I might do something like, let's see, might do something like 20. Remember, we had that 25.15. Remember, we had, where was it? Let's go here. Uh, remember, we had that if below 25, not much to this 15 stall. So might do a broker wing fly, or I would consider a broker wing fly if 25 breaks, stall at 15, add another, maybe an asymmetrical one, and make it a little wider on the bottom. Let's just say something like that. I don't know. But that's the way that I would look at today. I would look at today that worst case scenario, I get a 65-cent credit. Well, worst case scenario, we go below 6,400. Unlikely. If we break 25 or start heading to it, this gives me 10 points before I'm wrong. So I got 10 points before I'm wrong, which takes me down to here, but I have two here. So it's kind of asymmetrical. So you start losing money roughly around eight ish, so it's a pretty good bet. Um, Also, as it's going down, if it looks like it's stalling, you can always monetize the long part, the long debit spread part, and leave the shorts on. Or what I do, because I'm a cowboy, is if this is profitable, and let's say I paid 350 for it, I guess go with the ask, and I can get $5 for it, and at the same time buy the 20 for the same 350, I'll cowboy up and buy the 20 here. And yeah, I'm adding risk there, but that I'm just saying that's what I do. I'm not saying that's what you should do. Um, yeah. Um, oh, Punk says hello. Where's Punk? I don't see him. I don't know that. I don't think so. I don't think he's a front man. And actually, he's in like wherever he is, Brussels or whatever it is. I don't think that's a front man because I remember when he was cutting his teeth in this game in 2017 when we were doing three times a week, and there were more of us on Facebook then, and Discord wasn't really happening then. Twitter wasn't talking about iron condors yet, so there was a community of about I don't know a few hundred of us that were doing SPX iron condors then. Um, your standard tasty work, theta selling, 45 DTE puts, which people still do, what guys still do a little bit, or risk reversals, whatever, was more popular. And a lot of these people, myself included, were on those Facebook groups then. And I remember him there then. And he would kind of he was a little boastful then too, I have to say. Um, and then he kind of disappeared and then morphed into this. A few other people, Tammy Chambliss from that era, now has her own thing, which does well. I've had many chats with her over the years. She Her latest thing is MEIC, multiple entry iron condors, where she enters an iron condor every half hour mechanically. If has a mechanical stop loss and re-enters again, whatever the mechanics are. And statistically, it makes money. Sometimes she gets run over because she just does it mechanically by the book. And I've had long chats with her. Look, there's gamma here. You don't have to. You don't have to be so mechanical. You can be mechanical-ish, but when there's something that says, "Hey, we're going there," don't be mechanical. Use some kind of discretion. But anyway, I don't know if she's changed that. She makes money. Nothing wrong with her. I'm just saying that's not me. My nature is I'm not a mechanical person. So that's another thing from the trading psychology point of view. It's important that your trading style matches your personality style to some extent. And so that's, and that develops over time. Okay. Anyway, now I'm really done. Anybody else want to comment before I hop? I'm gonna go listen to Valsigs. Yeah, Punk says hello. Punk is on the phone, sends his love. Okay. Punk was my former running buddy when we were on Mentor Q and before. Actually, I met him on Mentor Q, I think, about 4 years ago. And he abandoned the IC ship and became an ES scalper of all things. Okay, Rick. Hey, Rick. Good to see you. All right, guys, I'm done.